Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is the 1947 Cleveland Buckeyes Negro American League champions. Yeah, so this was a glory year in Cleveland. The Buckeyes again were playing in the Negro American League, the junior circuit of Negro League baseball. Home games were played at League Park at East 66 in Lexington on the east side of Cleveland, and at Cleveland Municipal Stadium downtown on Lake Erie. The Buckeyes finished in first place in the Negro American League with a record of 42-12, winning percentage of .778. Wow, really good. Second place, the Kansas City Monarchs, 47-27, 5 games out of first. Third place, the Birmingham Black Barons, 36-22. Fourth place, the Memphis Red Sox, 28-38. Fifth place, the Cincinnati Indianapolis Clowns, 28-51. And in sixth and last place, the Chicago American Giants were 20-51, 30.5 games out of first. Where have you gone, Rube Foster? On January 20th, 1947, Josh Gibson died at age 35 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the best power hitter in the history of Negro League baseball. He had one of the largest funerals ever in Pittsburgh. Gibson had a drinking problem, and he had also developed a problem with heroin, and apparently he had a brain tumor that did not get treatment, and he had a lot of unhappiness in his life because his wife, his true love, had died shortly after they were early in their marriage. Now his son, Josh Gibson Jr., had 1 year in the minor leagues playing for Youngstown in the Cleveland Indians system. He also played for the Homestead Grays in the Negro Leagues in 1949 and 1950. In 1972, Josh Gibson was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. 1947, Jackie Robinson integrated Major League Baseball. He started playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers at the start of the season, April 15th. So this had a tremendous effect on Negro League Baseball. In July, in Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians bought Larry Doby from the Newark Eagles for $15,000 to integrate the American League. So the fans were Black Americans really were focusing on the majors where there were the beginning of black players. And here in Cleveland, we had, of course, Larry Doby playing for the Indians. Larry Doby was befriended, and this was a tough thing for him. He was befriended on the Indians by players Joe Gordon, Al Rosen, Bob Lemon, and Jim Hegan, and Coach Bill McKechnie. 1947, Negro League attendance was down, again because the focus was on Jackie Robinson and the Dodgers and Larry Doby and the Indians. And so this was Jackie Robinson's rookie year. Effa Manley, the owner of the Newark Eagles, said this, quote, "The fans deserted us to go see the boys on the white team. Deserted us like they say, rats desert a sinking ship." Now, Monte Irvin, tremendous player, had this to say about Josh Gibson, quote, "Josh Gibson was the black Babe Ruth. All the black players will tell you that Josh was our best. He was our best hitter, our best all-around player." Now, to give you an idea of the attendance problems, the Newark Eagles had 120,000 fans coming to games in 1946. Only 57,000 in 1947. Huge drop-off, as you know they're going to Brooklyn to see Jackie Robinson play, and then the following year it was down to 35,000 total fans to go see Negro League Newark Eagles games in 1948. 1947, Robinson not only integrated Major League Baseball but had a tremendous year. He hit .297 with 29 stolen bases, scored 125 runs, and he led the Dodgers to the National League title and the World Series. On September 22nd, Jackie Robinson appeared on the cover of Time magazine. Now, black newspapers reduced their coverage of Negro League baseball because they were focusing on Jackie Robinson and the Dodgers and Larry Doby and the Indians. 1947, this year we're talking about, there were 16 black men in white baseball, half of them playing in the minors in the Brooklyn system. Most of the Negro League teams lost money in 1947, including the two teams that went to the World Series, the New York Cubans and the Cleveland Buckeyes. I'm reading a fine book. The title is I Never Had It Made, an autobiography of Jackie Robinson by Jackie Robinson, 1972. And another fine book, Branch Rickey by Jimmy Breslin, 2011. Of course, Branch Rickey was the general manager of the Dodgers who had the courage to sign Jackie Robinson, and who knew that Robinson would help him help the Dodgers win, and other black players that they signed. In 1945, Branch Rickey, again GM of the Dodgers, told Red Barber, the Dodgers radio announcer, quote, "I'm going to bring a Negro to the Brooklyn Dodgers. I don't know who he is or where he is, but he is coming." Now, they had a meeting of the owners, and all of the owners were against having Jackie Robinson in the league. However, Branch Rickey Branch Rickey was supported by Happy Chandler, the commissioner. That made all the difference. And eventually, Ford Frick, the National League president, also was supportive. 1947, the Buckeyes had League Park all to themselves, because the Indians were playing all of their games at the stadium. Before the season, there was a barnstorming set of exhibition games. Bob Feller's All-Stars against Satchel Paige's All-Stars, who included Sam Jethro and Quincy Troup of the Cleveland Buckeyes. One of those games was at Cleveland Municipal Stadium on October 1st, 1946, and Bob Feller pitched and won the game 5-0. 10,000 fans came, 2/3 were black. Stephanie M. Liscio, who wrote a fine book on Negro League baseball in Cleveland, wrote, quote, "The Page-Feller games showed that whites and blacks could play and travel together. It was the conduct and comradeship on the part of both teams that again amazed the fans." But the Buckeyes had spring training in Tampa, Florida in 1947 and had a 14-3 record in the spring. Their home opener at League Park, they got 6,683 fans. Again, the Newark Eagles sold Larry Doby to the Tribe on July 5th for $15,000. Shortly after that, the St. Louis Browns signed Henry Thompson and Willard Brown for the Kansas City Monarchs and Lorenzo Piper Davis for the Birmingham Black Barons. There was a rumor that the Boston Braves were going to sign Sam Jethro, the star center fielder for the Buckeyes. That didn't happen for a few years. One of the important players, Parnell Woods of the Buckeyes, was in Venezuela, so he didn't play for the Buckeyes in 47, and he was enjoying himself. And he said, quote, "One only realizes the extent of prejudice when experiencing fair treatment here." So he was enjoying being treated well in Venezuela. Now the lineup was the player manager in 1947 for the Buckeyes was Quincy Troup. Was the manager, and he was also a catcher. He didn't catch all the time. Troup batted .318 with 7 hits. He scored 4 runs, had a double, an RBI, a stolen base, 6 walks in 11 games. Again, these statistics are very incomplete. And Troup was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1944 to 1947. He also played for the Cleveland Indians in 1952. He was honored by Louis Seltzer, the editor of the Cleveland Press, as the best manager in the Negro Leagues in 1947. Quincy Troup. Now, the regular catcher was Tommy Harris, who batted .161 with 5 hits. He scored 4 runs, had 2 doubles, 4 RBIs in 9 games. And Harris was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1946 to 1948. Tommy Harris. Archie Ware was at first base. Ware batted .367. He had 22 hits, scored 12 runs, 6 doubles, a home run, 11 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 4 walks in 15 games. And Ware was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948. Archie Ware. Johnny Cowan was at second base. Cowan batted .316 with 18 hits. He scored 10 runs, 2 doubles, a home run, 13 RBIs, a stolen base in 15 games. Cowan was with the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942. The Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942, and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1944 to 1947. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His pro baseball career continued until 1950. See, the Buckeyes had played in 54 games, and they only had stats for a small number. Johnny Cowan. Joe Atkins was at third base. They called him Leroy. He batted .303 with 10 hits. Scored 7 runs, 2 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 4 RBIs, 4 walks in 10 games. Atkins, in his career, played left field, right field, and he was an outfielder. He played for the Pittsburgh Crawfords, Cleveland Buckeyes, in the minor leagues in Canada for Farnham and Drummondville, and also in Tampa and Carmen and Ottawa, and also in Puerto Rico from 1946 to 1954. 1949 in Puerto Rico, he hit .325. Atkins was born in 1922 in Mobile, Alabama, and died in 1970 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at age 47. For his career in the Negro Leagues, he batted .273 with 12 hits. He scored 9 runs, 2 doubles, 3 triples, a home run, 5 RBIs, 5 walks in 14 games. In the minor leagues, he batted .251 with 153 hits, 32 doubles, 23 home runs in 178 games. So he had a pretty good minor league career. Joe Atkins. Al Smith was at shortstop. Smith batted .346. Wow. 18 hits, scored 8 runs, 3 doubles, 3 triples, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, a stolen base, 4 walks in 14 games. And Smith was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1946 to 1948. He played for the Cleveland Indians from 1953 to 1957 and in 1964. Al Smith. Clyde Nelson played left field. Nelson batted .264 with 14 hits. Scored 4 runs, 3 doubles, a triple, 9 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 2 walks in 14 games. Nelson played third base, second base, first base, and outfield during his career. He played for the Indianapolis ABCs, the Chicago Brown Bombers, Chicago American Giants, Cleveland Buckeyes, and Indianapolis Clowns between 1939 and 1949. In 1946, he led the Negro American League with 88 hits and hit .327. He was born in 1921 in Bradenton, Florida, and died in 1949 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at age 27. Tragic. For his career, he batted .271 with 72 hits. Scored 39 runs, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs, 42 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 19 walks in 76 games. Clyde Nelson. Sam Jethro was in center field. Jethro led the league with a .362 batting average. He had 21 hits, 19 runs scored, 4 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 8 walks in 15 games. And Jethro was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948. Now there's some alternative stats for him. According to these stats, he had 98 hits, led the league with 31 doubles, led the league with 9 triples, and led the league with 50 stolen bases in 70 games. Also led the league with 90 runs scored. A tremendous year for Sam the Jet Jethro. Willie Grace played right field. Grace batted .327 with 16 hits. He scored 8 runs, had a double, 7 RBIs, 9 walks in 15 games. Grace was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948, and in 1950, he played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942. Willie Grace. Now the bench players included Leon Kellman, who played third base, batted .273 with 6 hits. He scored 6 runs, had a double, a triple, a home run, 6 RBIs, 3 walks in 9 games. And Kellman was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1946 to 1948. Leon Kellman. Jesse Williams played some left field. He batted .308 with 4 hits. He scored 2 runs, had a double, a home run, 4 RBIs, a walk in 6 games. Williams played for the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1944 to 1947, and this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Jesse Williams. George Minor played some left field. He batted 5 times, did not have a hit in 4 games. And Minor was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1944 to 1948. George Minor. Now, the pitching staff was led by the ace, Vibert Clark, who was 4-0 with an ERA of 2.75. 4 games, all starts, 4 complete games, a shutout, 36 innings pitched, and 21 strikeouts. Clark could hit. He batted .533 with 8 hits. He scored a run, had 2 RBIs. Clark was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1946 to 1948. Vibert Clark. Alonzo Boone was 1-1 with an ERA of 2.70. 3 games, all starts, a complete game, 23 and a third innings pitched, and 10 strikeouts. He batted 10 times and did not have a hit. Boone played for the Cleveland Cubs in 1931, the Cleveland Bears from 1939 to 1940, the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942, and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943, from 1945 to 1948, and in 1950. Alonzo Boone. Chet Brewer was 1-1 with an ERA of 1.13, really good. 3 games, 3 starts, 2 complete games, a shutout, 16 innings pitched, and 9 strikeouts. Brewer batted .286 with 2 hits and 7 at-bats, and he had 2 RBIs. He played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943, and from 1946 to 1948. Chet Brewer. Doc Bracken was 2-0 with an ERA of 2.35, 2 games, 2 starts, a complete game, 15 and a third innings pitched, and 14 strikeouts. Bracken batted .167 with 1 hit and 6 at-bats. He scored a run and had an RBI. Bracken played for the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1946 to 1947. This was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Doc Bracken. Satchel Davis was 1-0 with an ERA of 2.19, 3 games, 2 starts, a complete game, a save, 12 and a third innings pitched, and 6 strikeouts. He batted 4 times and did not have a hit. Davis was with the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943 and in 1947, and this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Satchel Davis. Sam Jones was 0-1 with an ERA of 6.55, 2 games, 1 start, a complete game, 11 innings pitched, and 7 strikeouts. There was another Sam Jones who played for the Cleveland Indians from 1914 to 1915. Anyway, the Sam Jones from 47 batted 3 times and did not have a hit and scored a run. They called him Red, Sad Sam, and Toothpick. He played for the Homestead Grays, Cleveland Buckeyes, and the minor leagues for Wilkes-Barre, San Diego, Indianapolis, and Columbus. In MLB for the Cleveland Indians, Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, San Francisco Giants, Detroit Tigers, and Baltimore Orioles. Also in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico from 1946 to 1964. In 1955, he was the Chicago Cubs ace pitcher and threw a no-hitter. Had a record of 14-20. In 1959, with the San Francisco Giants, he was 21-15 and led the National League with an ERA of 2.83 and won. And in 1960, he won 18 games for the Giants. In MLB, Jones won 102 games. He was born in 1925 in Stewartsville, Ohio, and died in 1971 in Morgantown, West Virginia, at age 45. For his MLB career, he was 102 and 101 with an ERA of 3.59 and 1,376 strikeouts. He was on 2 All-Star teams in the major leagues in 1955 and 1959. He was the National League wins leader in 1959. National League ERA leader as well that year. He was a 3-time National League strikeout leader in 1955, 56, and 58. Stan Musial said, quote, "Sam had the best curveball I ever saw. He was quick and fast, and that curve was terrific. So big it was like a change of pace. I've seen guys fall down on curves that became strikes." He was the first African-American to throw a no-hitter in the major leagues. And in that no-hitter, he walked the bases loaded to start the ninth, and then struck out the side. Dick Grote, Roberto Clemente, and Frank Thomas. He died of neck cancer at age 45. Tragic. In the minor leagues, Jones played for the Atlanta Crackers and the Columbus Jets. Sam Jones. Eugene Brenner. What a career for Sam Jones. Eugene Brenner was 2-0 with an ERA of 3.68. 3 games, a save, 7 and a third innings, pitched and 3 strikeouts. Brenner batted .250 with 1 hit and 4 at-bats and scored 2 runs. He played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948. Eugene Bremer. Clyde Williams had no decisions and an ERA of 0.00. 1 game, 3 2/3 innings pitched, and a strikeout. They called him Lefty. He batted twice and did not have a hit, but had a walk. Williams played for the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1947 to 1948 and in 1950. He was born in 1920 in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and died in 2005 in Detroit, Michigan at age 85. Clyde Williams. And finally, John Brown was 1-0 with an ERA of 0.00. 1 game, 3 innings pitched, and 2 strikeouts. He batted 1,000, had 1 hit and 1 at-bat and an RBI. Brown was with the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1944 to 1945, and from 1947 to 1948. John Brown. And after the season, the Negro World Series was played, and the New York Cubans, the Negro National League champions, defeated the Cleveland Buckeyes, the Negro American League champions, 4-1. Game 1 was at the Polo Grounds in New York City, and it ended in a tie, 5-5, because of the game had to be stopped because of rain. Game 2 was at Yankee Stadium in New York, and the Buckeyes won that game 10-7. Game 3 was at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, and the Cubans won 6-0. Game 4 was at Shibe Park in Philadelphia. The Cubans won that game 9-4. Game 5 was at Comiskey Park in Chicago, and the Cubans won that game 9-2. And then Game 6, the last game, was at League Park in Cleveland, and the Cubans won that game 6-5 to close out the series. Players on the Cubans included Minnie Minoso, who was a future Cleveland Indian, along with Louis Tiant Sr., the father of Louis Tiant Jr., who played for the Indians in the 1960s. And Louis Tiant Sr. was 10-0 for the New York Cubans in 1947. The Negro League baseball days were numbered because the attendance was way down as the fans were going to see the Brooklyn Dodgers and Cleveland Indians. And Monte Irvin said, quote, "We were living in a special era. We had provided a form of entertainment for a group of people who were downtrodden, who had no hope, who didn't get much encouragement. They could come out to the ballpark and see some guy that could play baseball very well, and that would give them hope." The last game of the World Series, as I said, in League Park in Cleveland, the Buckeyes were down 3-1 in the series. 4,500 fans came. Buckeyes had a 5-0 lead in the 5th inning, but they couldn't hold on to it. They lost the game and the series. Now, for the Negro Leagues, the top hitter for 1947 was Henry Kimbrough of the Baltimore Elite Giants, and the top pitcher was Bob Romby of the Baltimore Elite Giants as well. So that's the story of the 1947 Cleveland Buckeyes. They had a tremendous year. Made it to the Negro World Series and won the Negro American League pennant. God bless the guys who played for the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1947 and everyone else associated with the team, including the fans, especially the Spanish-American War veterans, First World War veterans, and Second World War veterans. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp statue and the Fountain of Eternal Life, Euclid Avenue electricity, Severance Hall stalwarts, Cleveland Museum of Art enthusiasts, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum rebels, Christmas Story House happy people, Museum of Contemporary Art maniacs, Cleveland Botanical Garden goers, Old Arcade admirers, Playhouse Square seers, Settlers Landing Park purists, Western Reserve Historical Society wonders, First Energy Stadium friends, Progressive Field pals, Quicken Loans Arena enthusiasts, Cuyahoga Valley National Park pioneers, and finally Great Lakes Science Center supporters. Cleveland is the best location in the nation on the north coast of America. New York is the Big Apple. Cleveland is a plum. Tribe, Browns, Cavs, Monsters, Gladiators, and Fusion rule. Cleveland, city of champions. Yeah, the Cleveland Fusion are playing this, I think it's tomorrow. Their home opener in Maple Heights. So anyway, the Tribe's in first place. Tremendous year for the Tribe. Go Tribe. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.